Good morning. I'm glad to see so many of you figured out how to change your clocks. And I'm always tired Sunday afternoon from having to get up in the middle of the night to change my clocks at 2 in the morning. Anyways. Good morning to those of you in our sanctuary and those of you who, she used to, in fact, be our music director here quite a few years ago. And just amazing, just amazing. That alone guarantees you, she being here will guarantee you have a wonderful evening. There will be short stories. We're still looking for, we could use another couple if anybody was interested. We're looking for short stories about 5 to 10 minutes long. Shoot, there's the thing that's on NPR that is all short stories of people telling stories. The Moth, yes, that's right. About 5 to 10 minutes long. I will actually be telling a story about something that I did 50 years ago that I'm finally willing to admit publicly.
Oh, I'm coming. And Jim, yes. 5 minutes, not 10.
I've been told there's some flexibility, but we can we'll discuss that. But yes, on my situation, the statute of limitations has run out, so I'm feeling comfortable now of finally kind of admitting it. And I'm not kidding, that's actually true. You'll find out. There will also be some raffle ticket auction items that will be displayed on the table. You'll be offered the opportunity to buy raffle tickets. You can use them to buy snacks and drinks. If you have some adult beverages that you would like to bring yourself, that's fine. There will be a silent auction. There will be items. I don't follow it all. There'll be various really nice stuff that you can use your raffle tickets to bid on items with. Okay.
The people are what matters.
But the people, yes. We usually have a fantastic time, wonderful time, because it's also a time of sharing and chatting and getting to know each other too.
And you think about your stories. None of us are as innocent as we look. We all have stories.
Yes, if you think about it, there's usually a story or two that you can tell that maybe something that you remember because it changed the way you look at things, or maybe even changed your life and the way what happened, what you helped you make a decision. Okay. Also, let me see my papers here, just a bunch of little things here. The 2025-26 pledge campaign is underway. Our church is on a fiscal year that starts July 1st to June 30th. So we're in the 24-25 fiscal year. So for the upcoming fiscal year that starts July 1st, the pledge campaign is underway. Pledge forms have been mailed. If you have a form to return today, please see Sandra Murphy. Yes, I did see her here, so I know she's here. We want to thank our UUCF board members for demonstrating their leadership they've already completed their pledge forms. Thank you, board members. There is also some house gatherings that were taking place to kind of talk about what our future and where we would like to go. This relates both to the fact that in the near future and in another year or so, we will be looking for a new minister, and we will also have a long-range planning committee that's trying to figure out where we're going. These house gatherings, there's several that are scheduled throughout the next couple of weeks. There's lists downstairs, sign-up sheets, so that people know you're coming, and you can find one that matches your time. It's mainly just a get-together. There's a few general discussion questions that you can talk about. And especially thanks to those church members who've agreed to host a gathering. Most of those are at people's houses. Okay. I think here we go. And last opportunity, yes. Anything else I've forgotten? Oh, I do. Yes, for the Mustard's Retreat thing. There are tickets. I wrote a note here and still forgot it. There are also some plants, little starter plants, out in the narthex. You feel free to take one. I believe they're succulents, which I think are like cactusy things. I don't even know plants. but they're out there. If you would like one, please take one. Okay. I didn't check. Yep, lights are out. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to light the chalice. There we go. Okay. I like this candle this morning, specifically in reference to our third principle, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregation. Please join me in reciting our covenant, recognizing the richness of diversity, the beauty and wonder of shared worship, and the transforming power of love and service. We gather as a sacred, intentional community to freely seek knowledge and truth, to celebrate the fullness of life, and by our actions to increase goodness and justice. I will now turn the service over to our guest speaker today, Reverend Angelica Roth, who is from the Earth and Sky Center, and I'm sure we'll have a very good time together this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. I love coming here, and I'm really kind of excited today about what I wanted to talk about. One of the things, and since government was already mentioned, one of the things that I've had a lot of conversations with the universe about lately is, what is our path forward? What are we here to do? What is the future going to bring, and how can we help shape and create it the way that we feel could be best for everyone, instead of being just our own interests? And I feel like that's a big part of the path of joy. I think that when we start to recognize and we see others around us and not just ourselves, and we look to see how can we better things for everybody, it automatically starts to spark joy in our hearts. It automatically starts to bring up a sense of renewal of life within ourselves as well. And one of the things the universe has said very clearly is that we all need to be ready to stand together. We all need to be ready to unite, to fight, to bring joy, to bring peace back, to bring a sense of community to everyone. And a lot of the people that I talk to, oftentimes people say, but I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting. I've been fighting for so long, and we had just reached a point where it seemed like we didn't have to fight so hard, and it was really nice. And that's one of the things the universe had acknowledged, is we had had huge movements in the 60s. We really opened up in beautiful ways in the 70s. There was some falling backwards a bit in the next decade, and then a little bit of revival again in the next. And that's kind of the ebb and flow of life. That's often what we have, is those ups and downs in our personal lives and on a global level as well. And the universe has said that it knows that we are tired. It knows that we're exhausted. And that's why we first need to take care of ourselves. We need to right now rest, revitalize, recover, replenish, nourish ourselves, so that we can be ready to stand together as one, that we can be united to bring love back into the hearts of everyone, that we can see each other, that we cannot be discouraged, because we can see how many people actually are uniting in love, how many people actually really do care. Sometimes when the news shows so much that looks so bleak, we forget about how many of us really do care, really do want happiness, really do want peace, really do want equality for everyone. And that's what the universe keeps saying, is we need to remember that. We need to rekindle that within ourselves. And I hope today's talk on joy and how we can bring that back into ourselves, and going all the way back to the essenes, we'll talk about some ways to alchemize joy in our life. I hope it brings some inspiration to prepare you to be ready for the next fight that we have of uniting with each other. And I was going to, we're going to have a hymn Yes, please. Yeah, hymn number 354, Jennifer and, I was trying to remember your name. Bonnie, Jennifer and Bonnie will lead us with verses 1 to 4, or 1 and 4.
Oh, just 1 and 4, okay, good to know. Let's all stand, lift your voices. We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something greater to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need those friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we believe that sharing is the answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of youth and strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to listen what we find. And we believe in love and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. We have our search for peace. May we be finally see, even to question truly is an answer. Thank you so much. Please be seated.
You have such a beautiful voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why we put her up front.
I love that. Yes, it is wonderful. Oh, thank you.
Turn your mic on, please.
Yeah. There we go. I think did that turn it on? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Trying to do the button without seeing it. Normally, it's not a problem. There we go. I got it. It's only one button. It shouldn't be hard. With every single thing that we do, with every single thought that we have, with every action that we take, we are always either creating or destroying. There is not really a middle. Oftentimes what we want is the middle. What we want is just a simple pause of kind of checking out for a little while and to feel like, let me let my mind ramble a little bit, or maybe these little things don't really matter. But everything matters. Every thought that we have, we are either creating or destroying with it. Every action, we are either creating things in the world or we are destroying with it. And we can never be responsible for what other people are doing, but what we can do is recognize what we are doing ourselves. We can start to recognize how to be mindful of the thoughts that we have. How can we be mindful of how even those little things that we do actually can have a really big impact that we might not even see personally? You may have noticed sometimes that you've gone out in public and it seemed like somebody was very rude and cut you off, and then you go to the store and there was somebody else that was equally rude, and it just kind of, if it was at the start of the day, you might have felt like, well, this day's going to be wrecked, because it can feel like it's a pattern. But we have a magnificent ability in ourselves to really create greatness. We actually are the director of our own movie. A lot of times I see our lives as our movie, and all of the characters that we interact with throughout our movie are people that we may travel in soul packs with over different periods of time. And when we start to recognize, if I'm the director of my own movie, even if I've had 5 people that maybe weren't very nice in their interactions with me, guess what? I can shift my energy. I don't have to feel like that is being put onto me. We can learn how to pause within ourselves and ask, Kabbalistically, what we do is we ask what a pleasure this is when there's a challenge, when there's something that has been a struggle to us. We pause and we say, okay, there's a blessing in this. What a pleasure this is, and I'm going to figure out what is at the base of this challenge. Where can I use this to rise within myself? Where can I use this to recognize that just because somebody else did something doesn't mean that it has to impact my whole day. And at the same time, we really are responsible for all of our own actions. So those little things that maybe you can sometimes feel like are big impacts from other people on you, those same things might be things that you do on occasion too. And so when we start to learn how to pause in our lives, and we start to recognize, okay, if I am the master of my destiny, if I am the director of my movie, what is the impact that I'm having on everyone around me? And it goes into those little things that we do. When you're driving and you signal before you get over, you try not to cut people off. When you are in a public space and you smile at people, even if you are not having the best day yourself, when we simply smile, it starts to lift up how we feel. That smile can become very contagious. It can start to spread to other people. Simply smiling at strangers, saying hello to them. That's one of the things that I love about Michigan and being from Arizona. In Arizona, everyone pretty much kind of keeps to themselves, doesn't smile or wave. And I see that a lot in Michigan. People do, let me try and not move that so much. So people really do seem to be a bit more friendly or a bit more outgoing. But when we are in times like we are right now, that becomes even more important, because every single thought we have and every single action we take really is making a big impact of either creating or destroying. So if you get frustrated by somebody around and you kind of send off those frustration vibes, that too can carry. But when we start to recognize that we are all people in this journey trying to find our way, and we all have a magnificent light inside us that we can utilize to light the path, not only for ourselves, but for others as well. It really is quite incredible what we can create together. I want to do a short visualization with you, and we'll do our candle lighting as well. So go ahead and focus in on your breath for just a moment. And allow yourself to come fully present here in this space. You may have a lot that's been going on in your lives lately. There might be a lot of stress, a lot of sorrow, a lot of struggle. We can lift those concerns up in this space. Allow yourself to simply become present. There may be many different joys and beautiful things in your life right now. People that you love, friendships, maybe a project you're working on. Allow yourself to simply think about whatever it is that you would like to lift up in this space. There's a beautiful energy when we come to gather together. So thinking of if there is a person that you're concerned about and you want to send the light of love to to them. Or maybe there's an area of your life where you just really want some extra light for yourself. Allowing yourself to think of whatever it is. If it is the joy that you want to lift up and share with others, if it is something you want to release that you feel like is no longer part of you. And I invite you to, if you wish, you can come up and light one of the candles up here. Because as we light the candles for one another, we light the candle for ourselves as well. As we light a candle for ourselves, we are also lighting that for one another. One of the amazing things with candles is that even if there is just one tiny spark of a candlelight in a darkened room, you can suddenly see through that entire room. So please feel free to come up and light the candles. I'm going to play the bowls for a moment. And feel free to light a candle, whether for yourself or for someone else. As we light the sacred candles for one another, may we see the light that emits and rises. It turns to smoke and rises to air. It reaches the breath of all who are near. When we exhale, that light travels farther till every one of us are touched. As you continue to light the candles, may we feel the light of joy. May we breathe the light of love, for truly we are all one. May we light the way for each other, for as we do, we light the way for ourselves too. takes is just a small moment, an ability to simply breathe. Oops, are both of the mics on now? I think I'm getting a little feedback. When we just take a moment to breathe and allow ourselves to simply settle in, to come into the present within our body, to come into the present with where we are. So often I think that we're trying to escape where we're at instead of letting ourselves be fully present, fully here, and allowing ourselves to just become and to be okay with where we are, to be okay with who we are. I think that when we take even just a couple of minutes to focus in on that and to remember that you are enough, to remember that we are all perfectly imperfect, to remember that there is no place you need to be other than where you are. I think in our Western culture, sometimes we really try so hard to kind of run forward and to have so many things going on because we're afraid of not doing enough or not being enough. But truly just being, just allowing yourselves to come very present brings us into a place of power within ourselves. It brings us into this place where we can insert the pause and ask, what is the pleasure here? What is the pleasure that is going to come from this challenge that I'm facing? What is the pleasure of the gift of this life that I am in here? And that gives us that ability to come back to recognizing that with every thought and with every deed and with every action, we are either creating or we are destroying. We are all part of this planet, and we are starting to see, I believe, more and more how small this planet really is. I don't know if that's happening. Is that okay? Okay. How small this planet really is as our global culture is allowing us to be able to communicate so easily with so many distant lands that might have seemed foreign at one point. And now we can recognize that we are all beautiful souls here traveling together, trying to figure this out, trying to do the best that we can, and having the same needs. Whatever our views and beliefs are, we usually have pretty much the same needs that we're trying to take care of. We all are looking for love. We all want to feel loved. We're looking for safety. We want shelter. And we hope that we have health and that our families are healthy and those that we care about, we wish those same things for. One of the things that we can find as a way to really rise into helping this to become a greater world and have unity is when we recognize that whatever you want to wish for yourselves, when we wish for that for everyone else, we start to see the unity actually come. You've probably noticed before that when you did some kind of a small act or a deed showing love to someone else, that you felt really happy, even if it wasn't something for yourself. It feels good to make someone else smile. It feels good to help somebody else meet a need that they have in themselves, and it replenishes that light and that joy within us. There was a very young, this is from quite a long time ago, there was about 80 years ago, there was a young Bedouin shepherd that was walking through, kind of exploring in the Judean desert, and right along the Dead Sea, and he came upon an interesting discovery. This was in 1947. He wandered into one of the caves. There's several caves along the Dead Sea. And when he wandered in there, he saw that there was a ceramic pot inside this cave. And when he looked in the pot, he discovered an ancient manuscript that was about 2,000 years old. This was the first finding of the Dead Sea Scrolls. They had many archaeologists that came in when they found out this was 2,000 years old that this young shepherd boy just had discovered. And the Dead Sea Scrolls they were discovered in about 11 different caves in this region. Some of them in ceramic pots, some of them farther back in the caves, but they discovered 850 of these scrolls that dated from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE. And a lot of these scrolls describe a beautiful group called the Essenes. The Essenes are a group that was very predominant from about the 2nd century BCE to the 1st century CE. And a lot of scholars believe that Jesus had a lot of interactions and may have been influenced by some of the practices of the Essenes as well. There have been more findings that have come from the Vatican's secret archives about the Essenes. And they're a group that really fascinates me. As an end-of-life doula, a lot of what we do tracks back to what the Essenes did. The Essenes were healers, they were midwives, they were devotees, they were peacekeepers. They didn't live in the rural part of the urban part of the city. They kind of lived more on the outskirts, and a lot of what they practiced really relates to mysticism and there's a lot that they do in their practices that relates into purification. But one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about lately over the last couple years has been purification. And I think the Essenes really show us in such a beautiful way how we can purify ourselves and how we can do that in an everyday sense. The Essenes had ways that they would purify that were sometimes very ritualistic. Sometimes it was just about daily thoughts, and sometimes it was about their bodies. Sometimes it was cleansing spaces. They would use different sacred herbs and what we now call incense, herbs and resins that they would use to purify spaces. They would be very mindful when they cleansed themselves about the fact that they're not just washing their bodies, but they're washing the energy off. You've probably noticed that sometimes when you have been maybe around a group of people, or even if you just got some bad news, maybe you were watching the news, sometimes it can feel thick enough that you feel like it's on you. You might notice sometimes you feel like you just need to wash your hands or you just need a shower because of news that you heard. That's because it truly does impact our energetic body. We have an electromagnetic field that goes about 3 feet off of our body, and in this field it gathers all of the emotions, all of the knowledge, all of the wisdom, all of the interactions that we have with other people, and our thoughts as well accumulate through this field. There's been a lot of research now that is done on that, but the Essenes knew long before it was scientifically proven how we have a connection with this energy and how we need to purify and cleanse it off of ourselves so that we can actually move forward. When I went to Japan in the spring of 2023, I went there to meditate for about 5 weeks and on the mountains. And the mountain that I chose predominantly, I knew it was considered a very mystical mountain, but what I didn't know was that it was also a mountain that people went to for purification. And that was the first lesson that the mountain taught me when I was there, and kind of listening to nature and listening to what I was hearing from the universe. And the very first day, it started talking about purification. It wasn't something I had thought a whole lot about before. I had in small ways, but not in such a deep way that it connects so directly with our soul. And the mountain talked about how we need to purify and cleanse our thoughts, because our thoughts are what are creating our reality. You've heard the concept, thoughts are things, and if you're wanting to manifest something, then maybe writing it down or thinking about it, getting a good clear picture of it, because what we think about, we're creating in the upper realms, and then as we think about it more and we start to take some steps to draw it in, it starts manifesting here in the physical realm around us. So when you start to really think about all of your thoughts, you might notice that you have some self-defeating thoughts. There might be some negative thoughts. There might be some thoughts that if you get angry or frustrated with other people or situations going on in the world, it might feel justified in the moment, but maybe later it's not something you really think or that you were really wishing would happen. When we purify our thoughts, it brings us into a place of power within ourselves where we can really start creating what we are actually wanting to create, which is usually love, joy, peace, feeling of safety, feeling of connection. And so purification can be one of those ways that we can start clearing out the feeling of fear and lack and loss. All of the aspects that basically prevent us from acquiring what we want, or that tie us into falling into those aspects of fear, are at the seed level within our mind, those aspects that kind of worm their way in, and without us even realizing it, sometimes we might look back and notice there might have been 1 hour of the day you were actually focusing on peace, and about 8 hours of the day where you felt fearful, afraid, scared, anxious, depressed, worried. And those thoughts, they kind of come and go through our mind. So when we learn to purify our mind and we learn to purify our heart, we start to create this space of greatness within ourselves where we can actually create a momentum that can change the world, that can change the world with joy, with connection, and with light. We need to first recognize and be brutally honest with ourselves of what are our thoughts, what are the actions that we are doing in our day-to-day lives. Sometimes we feel like it's so daunting, the political world and all of the changes that are coming in, and we need to recognize, where do I have power in this in myself here and now? Where can I be an ally? Where can I be a strong voice of courage? Where can I be a light so that when people feel hopeless, when they feel terrified, that they can look and recognize there is a beacon of hope, and that beacon of hope and that light shines so much brighter than anything that would feel very dark from the other side. Sometimes it's hard to pull that out at first, though, because if you are in a room that's really dark and you don't really have any access to a flashlight, or actually this happened to me in the woods last summer. I was walking through the woods and it was light when I was walking up to where there was a beautiful temple, and I thought, oh, it'll be nice to watch the moon, and I was by myself. And I thought, oh, this is such a beautiful thing. I had my singing bowl with me, and after a couple hours out there, I realized, okay, it's time to go back to the cabin. And then I realized there wasn't that much moonlight, and the place that was lit where I was at had enough light to go through a grove of the trees, but as soon as I went through that grove, there was no light at all. It was very, very dark. Sometimes we can feel like our lives are like that. We feel like there is so much darkness, or those that have power have so much darkness, and we're not sure how to find our way. But we can figure it out by resonating and drawing out that light that is in us. I realized in that moment that the pen that I had been writing with in my notebook had a flashlight on it. It was a small flashlight, but that one tiny light was plenty for me to be able to make it through the trees and find a path that got me back to where I needed to go to sleep. That is sometimes what we feel like within ourselves. Sometimes we may feel defeated, frustrated, or anxious, and we might feel like we don't have a lot to give in that moment. Maybe all you have is a tiny pin of light that you feel that you can bring out in that moment. But when you bring that light out in yourself, it becomes easier and easier to expand that light more. And then when you start encouraging other people in your life, showing them where there is hope, showing them how even if something seems bleak, we've actually been through worse before, whether it was in this lifetime or previous lifetimes, and we were able to get through that to get to where we are now. And there is a future that is magnificent and bright, and it takes all of us coming together and being this light. And when we start to shine that light ourselves, then we see one friend that is able to feel some relief and to feel some joy from that, their light then starts to inspire ours to shine even brighter. And it is a really empowering and incredible thing that we have within us. I want you to close your eyes again for just a moment and picture a spiritual leader that you admire. It doesn't matter who it is. Picture whatever spiritual leader you admire. It might be Buddha or Jesus, the goddess Isis. It might be Christian God. It might be Mother Earth, Spirit of the Earth, or a person that you admire that has a strong spiritual light. Visualize this person in your mind's eye. See them as standing in front of you, or feel as though they are standing in front of you. Feel as though you can feel their heart. You can feel the love that they share. Envision within your mind that you can see their eyes, and their eyes are sparkling and shining love at you. And you feel them reach their hands forward, their hands. And notice how it feels in your heart when you take their hands. Notice how it feels in your mind. Notice the peace that starts to come in. And then within your heart, envision that you take in all of this love, all of this peace that this figure is sharing with you. And you notice how different it feels as you just sit in their presence. And then on your next breath in, feel the essence of this beautiful figure as though you breathe that essence into you. And you feel the strength that flows through your heart. And you feel the strength that rises in your bones. And you feel the peace that expands within you even more. And feel this. Use your breath. With each breath out, you begin sending out to the world the sense of peace that you feel, the sense of strength that you feel. Breathe out to the world the love as you merge with the spiritual figure that you admire. Your light shines like their light shines within you. When you are ready, coming back into the room. And notice how that feels within you as you come back. You feel that increased peace, that sense of, I can do this. I'm not alone. We've got this. When we manifest for the world, we are also manifesting for ourselves. What you wish to create for the world is what you will create for yourselves. So when we want a world with peace, when we want a world with equality, when we want a world of love, we can share that light out with those that are around us and become still within ourselves. The main first step of it is finding that stillness, that strength, and that peace in ourselves. And it is as simple as connecting with something, whatever that thing is, connecting with something and feeling it radiate. You've probably noticed how sometimes there are certain people that when you're in their presence, you just feel a sense of peace. You feel like your spirits lift up when you're around them. Their voice just becomes very comforting, simply listening to them. That is a power that each of you have in yourselves. It is just coming into that stillness within ourselves. And what we do for others, we do for ourselves. What we create for others is creating the world for you here and now. So how do we create a world with unity while respecting all of the many dreams and the unique perspectives that everyone has? Everyone has different views and different ways that we think things should work. There may be similar situations, but different emotions. Perhaps this is because we are creating our world with every thought and every action. And when we start to recognize the base needs that everyone has, the base similar desires that everyone has, and we start to let go of some of the details, we can start listening to the universe. We can start listening to the light of love to guide our actions and to guide our thoughts, and automatically create a world where we see unity, where we feel love, where we feel the strength, where we then find joy in ourselves because we're not fighting the struggle of it. Instead, we're learning to pause, to ask, what is the pleasure in this challenge? How can I utilize this to light my flame even more? The wisdom really comes from asking certain questions. So, what does the world look like when it is filled with love? Have you thought about that? Have you visualized what the world would look like if it was filled with love everywhere? And then when you see in your mind what that looks like, when you feel that in your heart, asking, what is my contribution? What can I do? And ask that question from a place of strength. Sometimes that question gets asked by feeling like I'm just one person in a small city and I don't know. But we have a huge impact in our lives. And when we recognize that, we really stand in the power of that. So then asking, so what is my contribution? And what am I creating? What am I creating comes from, what did you do yesterday? What were your interactions, both with people that you like and people that you don't like and people that you know and people that you don't know? And what did you do to create the world that you want yesterday? What did I create today? That brings us into another place of power because we refrain from judging ourselves. Sometimes we judge ourselves very harshly. We feel like, well, I really didn't create very much yesterday. I can think of 5 things that I really messed up on, and I meant to be a good person, and we can then stumble across that. But we don't want to stay judging ourselves because then we're continuing to create with those thoughts. So instead, recognizing, but I'm coming into a place of power right now. I'm learning to pause right now. I'm recognizing that I'm creating with each action that I do, and then coming up with a plan. What am I creating? What did I create today? What were the words that were running through your mind? That's another one of the beginning steps of this, recognizing what are the words that run through your mind so that you can know what you are creating. I think so often we go through so much of life not really recognizing, not knowing what we were creating. And so recognizing that gives us the power to stop the self-defeating thoughts. That gives us the power to stop the thoughts of giving up. That gives us the power to stop those thoughts that are a runaway train of anxiousness. Sometimes people feel the vision that they want doesn't match the vision that they see. I think that's a very common thing right now. I think most of us are feeling like the vision that we want maybe doesn't quite match what we're seeing going on. But what are the words running through your mind? Sometimes we might need to be careful about what our input is. Watching the news incessantly can sometimes bring on even more anxiety and a sense of not feeling the ability to do something. Instead, shifting our patterns. So staying informed, but maybe you stay informed and then you do a meditation where you send love out to the world. Maybe you stay informed and then you create a plan of action within yourself, how to change your corner of the world, how to bring the light into wherever area there might seem to be darkness that's growing. Recognizing how to utilize it so that you're not watching it feeling helpless, but you're watching it to feel empowered. I talk a lot with my Reiki students about using Reiki as a very powerful way to be an advocate and helping to shift when you learn what's going on in the news. Well, you're never helpless. We have so much power within us because we have the light within us, because we are all one, and we're one with the light of divinity as well. If you find that you are anxious or you've lost your faith in others, it might be a good time to kind of take a step within and to remember that there is an inherent divinity within everyone that can be very hard to see in some people sometimes. I usually don't have a hard time with that at all, but there have been a couple that have definitely challenged me lately with being able to search, where is that light of divinity? But it's there. And when we start to see that in each other, then we start to draw that out. And you don't have to go to the hardest people to see that first. Start with the ones that challenge you a little. Start with the ones that maybe you just don't understand, and see that divine light within them. You've probably noticed in your own life, if somebody believes in you and they think that you're going to do a really good job on something, then you do a little bit better job because you feel like, I've got this. And if somebody doesn't believe in you at all, then you might find yourself messing up even though you know how to do the thing. When we see that spark of divinity in each other, when we recognize that the light is there, even if it is hidden quite a bit, they start to automatically show that a bit more. With every thought and action, we're creating or destroying. And the essenes teach us a lot, both about purification and also about peace. How are we to create peace if we don't have it inside ourselves? And usually that's the first place that we're longing to have it. A big key of alchemy is learning how to pause. The power of the pause can lead us to peace. The power of the pause is such an incredible presence. It brings us back ourselves into our presence within ourselves. The power of the pause can lead us to purify our thoughts, to cleanse them of stress, to cleanse them of worry, to cleanse them of anxiety. And it can be as much as just saying, in this moment, I choose to pause. In this moment where I'm feeling really anxious, I'm just going to pause. The world will not fall apart if you take 10 seconds to just follow your breath and let the anxiety go. What will happen is you will start to find a power and a strength within yourself that is what we need to continue on in the fight that we are moving towards, of bringing unity. Clearing other people's motives out of your mind, remembering to rest and trust that the light is guiding you. Remembering to alchemize your life, you must remember the ingredients are already within you. Trust, surrender, and be the peace. Be the light. Be the ally. Be the strength. All of those together sound overwhelming, but they're not. They're already in you. It's already who you are. So trust it. Be the peace instead of trying to have peace. Instead of trying to let go of the anxiety, be the peace. Be the light. It's as simple as letting yourself settle into it, and also recognizing that you can be the joy as well. Some of that comes from recognizing, what are you feeding your soul? Everything that we bring into ourselves is feeding our soul. What are the shows that you watch on TV? Those are feeding your soul. What are the discussions that you have with friends? That is feeding your soul. What are the books that you're reading? That too is feeding your soul. Recognizing how to find a balance of where we can be informed with things and where we need to also pause so that we rebuild our strength, so that we don't succumb to fear or lack or doubt, and instead we stand in our strength, being the light, being the peace, being the joy. And recognizing what you are sharing. What is the energy that you are creating? What is the energy that you are sharing? What is the energy that you are manifesting? To manifest joy, see the joy. Feel it, be it, believe it. Know that it is there. Know that together we are all so powerful. Collectively, we can create a destiny. In shamanism, sometimes we talk about how a destiny gets derailed at times, and we can pull that back on. One of the main things we need to do to bring back a derailed destiny is to pause within ourselves and to remember that the light is there, to remember that the destiny, the unity, and the love is already there, and then simply being it here now. One of the things that I find is a kind of a nice example of how when we share joy, we feel it expand within ourselves, is if you think about a time where you give a gift to somebody And maybe it was an unexpected gift. It wasn't even a holiday or anything. And you were so excited to watch them as they opened it or however they received it, how good that feels to simply give that to somebody and seeing that excitement within them, seeing that rush of joy on them and feeling that rush of joy within yourself simply by knowing that brought joy to them. That is one of the easy ways that we can start bringing joy into ourselves, sharing joy with others, finding ways. You can pretty much look at almost anyone these days and see that there's some pain there, I believe, in pretty much everybody. But when we take a moment to just share that joy, maybe share a smile, share a joke, do a kind act, it is going to increase the amount of light collectively on this planet and help us get back to where we need to be. It is a beautiful path to peace, to unity and joy. I love what Gandhi said of be the change that you wish to see in the world. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Don't feel like the goal is insurmountable. Every big movement really started with a small initial act. Every big movement tends to start with a very small core group of people. Even when the movement is really big, there's usually one small core group of people at the center of it. Any change in the world starts with one person and one choice to not wait for someone else. And that's what I keep hearing from the universe, is we all need to know that we are each that one person, and we need to not wait for someone else. And as we do, as we act, we start to inspire joy, we start to inspire courage, we start to inspire peace in others. So don't try it, don't just do it, but be it. Live, breathe, think, and speak the light of unity and the light of love. This is how you can manifest the life that you want. This is how we manifest happiness. And I want to do a short meditation with you. I know I'm having you kind of go inward a bit today, but we're going to do a little meditation. And I want you just to start to feel yourself kind of relaxing, allowing yourself to settle in. We're going to find this place inside yourself where the peace is. So as you are ready, closing your eyes. And allow yourself to settle deeply inside and feel your breath. Notice how your breath feels as you breathe in. And notice how your breath feels as you breathe out. Does it feel cooler as it breathes in? Does the air feel warmer as it breathes out? Breathing at the pace that feels right to you. Perhaps allowing yourself to slow it down even more. Nothing else exists in this moment except you, and connecting to the light of peace within. Allow yourself to look deeply into your heart. And see the beautiful flame that starts to arise. There is a light at the center of your heart, and there is a light at the center of your belly. And as you feel your breath, the divine heart within you wakes up and sees itself. Breathe it in as you explore the divine heart. Feel the light within you as the divine light within you wakes up and sees itself a beautiful glowing flame. It might feel like a warm flame in your belly that begins to rise. And as it rises, it purifies, it cleanses, it heals, it releases. Wherever there has been any sorrow or fear, allow this flame to move through you, to rise within you, and release the worry to the flame. Wherever there is tightness or tension in your body, wherever anxiety has been held within, release it to the flame and watch it as it goes up in smoke and it releases into the base elements again. And you begin to feel the flame as it rises in your heart, and your heart begins to feel light. The flame dances, a beautiful dancing, glittering, sparkling flame, and it clears away any areas where you have felt a lack of love from any point in your life. Release it to this flame. The flame dances, purifies, cleanses, and heals. The light of this flame, it flows up through your throat wherever there has been anything that held you back from being able to speak your truth through the light of love. Release it to the flame, and you feel the courage that rises within you, and you feel the strength that rises within you, and you feel the love. And the power of the divine heart within you wakes up and sees itself. Empowered with courage, empowered with peace. The radiance of the light, it flows up into your third eye, and you feel yourself relax, and you feel wherever there has been any essence of runaway thoughts, fear, lack, or doubt, release it to the flame. And you begin to see the flame start to glow, white, hot, beautiful, radiant light. And as it does, it inspires the light within you to see the truth, and the power of the divine mind within you wakes up, and clarity flows in. And clarity, those questions that you've had, those answers you've been looking for, those answers will begin to flow in throughout the day today and through your dreams tonight. As the power of the divine mind within you wakes up, and a radiant white light cascades through the crown of your head, the light of love. Divine, holy, beautiful, radiant love. It flows in through the crown of your head, and it flows in through your vision, and it flows in through your throat. And the power of divine love, it flows in through your heart, and in through your belly, and through the sacred waters of the womb. And it flows in through the root, the earth connection, through your hips. We have a connection within our hips that connects us to the heart of the earth, Mom Gaia, Mother Earth, and you feel this essence. Connect stability through your hips and through your knees, the power of the angels and your guardian angel. You are never alone. Your guardian angel is always with you. Many other angels as well. The radiance of this light, it flows down through your legs and your feet and all the way out to the stars, for we are made of stardust and starlight, radiant, beautiful peace, radiant love. Feel the stillness as the light of your authentic self unites your human heart and your divine heart, human mind and the power of the divine mind. You are empowered, you are loved, and you are one. Breathe it in and feel it expand. This light, it is you. This light, it is love. This light, radiant, beautiful, divine light. You are one with this light. I see this light in you, and I know this light is within me. And in sharing this light, we are one. We are united. We are the same. Together we rise with beautiful, radiant light, the light of love. White light flows through. Purple, sparkling mist surrounds you, and you feel the strength of the earth rise through you. The love of the divine flow down through you. A mirror shield forms 3 feet off your body, reflecting away, reflecting out anything not for your best and highest good. It bounces off the shield back to the sender with love, transmuting that energy into that which is positive, while protecting you in the process. And as you are ready, breathing back into your body, the power of the divine mind, the power of the divine heart, the light of your authentic self, here, present, fully awake, fully ready to live now. Taking your time.
We affirm the goodness of this world and share our joy for life as we stand on the side of love. We also share our time, talent, and treasure to continue being a liberal presence in this community. We invite you to join us as we take the collection by placing your offering in the basket in the back of the church as you leave, or by making an online gift at uuflint.org. All gifts are greatly accepted.
Such a treasure, everything you have here and the beautiful family of everyone here. I always feel very honored when you have me come to speak, and I really treasure and feel honored to be able to share this time with you now, and just seeing the authentic light within each of you is so beautiful and so special and so unique with each of you. I hope this inspires you, and I hope you feel empowered with all that is to come, and listen to the clarity that starts to come in. I believe you are going to have some answers that start to come in for your thoughts throughout the day, and listen to your dreams tonight. I find oftentimes after I do these experiences, people will dream a bit more at night. If you tend to dream a lot normally, you might not have so many dreams tonight and get deeper restful sleep. If you don't dream a lot, you're probably going to have a lot of dreams tonight. And JJ and I will play a little bit more with the singing bowls here to conclude after we do the chalice.
Join me as we extinguish this flame.
Extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. We care through in our hearts until we are together again. And after we play for just a moment, we'll also do a little bit of Q&A too. So if anybody has any questions or anything you want to share or feedback, perhaps we should do that first, actually. Let's do that. If anybody has any questions or any thoughts that you would like to share, I always love to hear what you have.
All right, Bonnie's first up. Help me catch any hands I miss.
It always amazes me when I listen to a service and things that I have been reading. It's on. It was on. Got it? It always amazes me when I come to a service and the things that I've been reading about and learning about in my own personal studies about spirituality and things are repeated in the sermon and sometimes word for word. I've been reading a book called Just Pray, and some of the quotations that you made of the Buddha and other people are just exactly what they said. They said in this book, and I thank you so much for ministering to me. Your music is beautiful, and your service was very well received. What a blessing! Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like the universe just divinely brings things together, and it is always so fascinating.
Well, I would like to say thank you so much for coming. I love it when you guys come and bring the bowls. It looks like people are getting ready for coffee, so if you want to hear her final musical or bell piece, very good. If you're getting a little antsy and it's coffee time, go ahead.